Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guruho Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskrityam Naranchaiva Narottamam Daivim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashtaprayeshu Abadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatir Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Om Tat Sat Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. We are continuing our reading from text 6, 7 onwards. I'm just starting today to read from 8. Sabhavan duhitra sneha pariklishtat mano mama shrotumarhasi dinasya shravitam kripaya mune. I hope you've got that. Text 8, Canto 3, Chapter 22, 3.22.7. Text 8. Sabhavan duhitra sneha pariklishtatmano mama shrotumarhasi dinasya shravitam kripaya mune. O great sage, graciously be pleased to listen to the prayer of my humble self, for my mind is troubled by affection for my daughter. Purport: when a disciple is perfectly in consonance with the spiritual master, having received his message and executed it perfectly and sincerely, he has a right to ask a particular favor from the spiritual master. Generally, a pure devotee of the Lord or a pure disciple of a bona fide spiritual master does not ask any favor either from the Lord or the spiritual master. But even if there is a need to ask a favor from the spiritual master, one cannot ask that favor without satisfying him fully. Swayam Bhuva Manu wanted to disclose his mind regarding the function he wanted to execute due to affection for his daughter. Text 9. Priyavrata tanupadaho swaseyam duhita mama Anvichati patim yuktam vayah shila gunatibihi. My daughter is the sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada. She is seeking a suitable husband in terms of age, character, and good qualities. Purport: the grown-up daughter of Swayam Bhuva Manu, Devahuti, had good character and was well qualified. Therefore, she was searching for a suitable husband just befitting her age, qualities, and character. The purpose of Manu's introducing his daughter as a sister of Priyavrata and Uttanapada, two great kings, was to convince the sage that the girl came from a great family. She was his daughter and at the same time the sister of Kshatriyas. She did not come from a lower class family. Manu therefore offered her to Karadama as just suitable for his purpose. It is clear that although the daughter was mature in age and qualities, she did not go out and find her husband independently. She expressed her desire for a suitable husband corresponding to her character, age, and quality, and the father himself, out of affection for his daughter, took charge of finding such a husband. Text 10. Yada tu bhavataha shila shutarupa vayo gunan ashranon naradat esha tvayi asit kritanischaya. The moment she heard from the sage Narada of your noble character, learning, beautiful appearance, youth, and other virtues, she fixed her mind upon you. Purport. The girl Devahuti did not personally see Karadama Muni, nor did she personally experience his character or qualities, since there was no social intercourse by which she could gain such understanding. But she heard about Karadama Muni from the authority of Narada Muni. Hearing from an authority is a better experience than gaining personal understanding. She heard from Narada Muni that Karadama Muni was just fit to be her husband, and therefore she became fixed in her heart that she would marry him. And she expressed her desire to her father, who therefore brought her before him. Interesting shlokas, so I'm just reading them so that we can build a whole understanding. Tat text 11. Tat prati cha dvijagraye mam shraddhayo pahridam maya sarvatmana rupam te grihamediju garmasu. Therefore, please accept her, O chief of the Brahmanas, for I offer her with faith, and she is in every respect fit to be your wife and take charge of your household duties. Purport. The words Grihamedishu Karamasu mean in household duties. Another word is also used here, Sarvat Mana Rupam. The purport is that a wife should not only be equal to her husband in age, character, and qualities, but must be helpful to him in his household duties. The household duty of a man is not to satisfy his sense gratification, but to remain with a wife and children at the same time attain advancement in spiritual life. One who does not do so is not a householder, but a grihamedi. Two words are used in Sanskrit literatures. One is grihastha and the other is grihamedi. The difference between grihamedi and grihastha is that grihastha is also an ashrama or spiritual order. But if one simply satisfies his senses as a householder, then he is a grihamedi. For a grihamedi to accept a wife means to satisfy the senses. But for a grihastha, a qualified wife is an assistant in every respect for advancement in spiritual activities. It is the duty of the wife to take charge of household affairs and not to compete with the husband. A wife is meant to help, but she cannot help her husband unless he is completely equal to her in age, character, and quality. Some very important points being mentioned here. Culturally, textual, udyattasya hi kamasya prativado na sashyate api nirmukta sangasya kamaraktasya kim punaha. To deny an offering which has come of itself is not commendable even for one absolutely free from all attachment, much less one addicted to sensual pleasure. But in material life, everyone is desirous of sense gratification. Therefore, a person who gets an object of sense gratification without endeavor should not refuse to accept it. Karadama Muni was not meant for sense gratification, but he aspired to marry and prayed to the Lord for a suitable wife. This was known to Swayambhuva Manu. He indirectly convinced Karadama Muni, you desire a suitable wife like my daughter, and she is now present before you. You should not reject the fulfillment of your prayer. You should accept my daughter. Ya udyatam anadritya khena sham abhiyachate kshiyate tadyashah manas chavajnaya hataha. One who rejects an offering that comes of its own accord, but later begs a boon from a miser, thus loses his widespread reputation and his pride is humbled by the neglectful behavior of others. Purport: the general procedure of Vedic marriage is that the father offers his daughter to a suitable boy. That is a very respectable marriage. A boy should not go to the girl's father and ask for the hand of his daughter in marriage. This is considered to be humbling one's respectable position. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to convince Karadama Muni, since he knew that the sage wanted to marry a suitable girl. I am offering just such a suitable wife. Do not reject the offer, or else because you are in need of a wife, you will have to ask for such a wife from someone else who may or may not behave with you so well. In that case, your position will be humbled. Another feature of this incident is that Swayambhuva Manu was the emperor, but he went to offer his qualified daughter to a poor Brahmana. Karadama Muni had no worldly possessions. He was a hermit living in the forest, but he was advanced in culture. Therefore, in offering one's daughter to a person, the culture and quality are counted as prominent, not wealth or any other material consideration. So, we will stop here. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manodishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Shrimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinamane. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarini. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading the wonderful, beautiful pastime of Karadama Muni getting married. This is an amazing pastime, and in many ways it teaches us many important lessons, and not just ordinary run-of-the-mill lessons. I understand that we have many experiences in our life that may be diametrically opposite. They may be diametrically opposite to what we are essentially experiencing. Sometimes devotees have many different experiences that are not always something that they can say is as per, fittingly as per the Shastra, as per what is given to them, opportunities, etc. But the point is that is why there is Guru, Acharya. And Guru or Acharya is a person who actually helps us translate the scripture into actuality. He helps us to apply it in spirit. There may be a little difference in the details, but He helps us to apply it in spirit. That's why Guru is so important. Spiritual master is very, very important. That person who guides you, instructs you, engages you in devotional service, and is able to spend time, solve the problems, questions, and doubts, and everything. Definitely, that person is very important in our life. So, uh, he naturally becomes our most important mentor because there is a sense of responsibility. So here you can see that these responsible roles have to be played by everybody. How Swayambhuva Manu is playing that very responsible role with great sensitivity. He's playing that role for his daughter. So he is the guru of his daughter. And then Karadama Muni is going to become the guru after that. That's why this is an important handover. Handing over. Kanya Dana means handing over responsibility. I am no more going to be her guru. You are going to be. This happens to a girl. She is transferred as a possession to another man who becomes her shelter. And she is supposed to listen to him, guide herself under the influence of the husband, and actually go back to God. That's the business of life for everybody, whichever body you may be in, right? Whichever body you may be in, does not matter. So it's very important for us to understand these shlokas very nicely in the right context. Some key verses, some key important sentences in the Bhagavatam. I could have picked up many, but since we are just reading through, some of it is not acceptable to people in this day and age. And I am not surprised because cultural values have gone down a lot. And that has gone down a lot because there is no education about what really is the goal of life. Culture means the goal of life is fixed. You learn that from the Shastra, from education. And culture means that activity, both material and spiritual, that lifestyle, that relationships, that type of setting that helps you to achieve the goal of life. Culture is a verb. Culture means activity, action, thoughts, mentality, consciousness. All these things are very much closely associated with culture. Of course, nowadays culture is being used for anything and everything, but originally when it was coined, it was meant to reflect spiritual culture. If you go back, you'll see its roots. So culture is Vedic culture, Varnashrama culture. So this is a Varnashrama setting. You can see a father coming and handing over his daughter to a prospective groom, whom according to the daughter, the daughter has selected him and desires his association. Prabhupada is making a comment here, the high-class marriage is when the father takes the daughter and hands over to the groom. That's the meaning of Kanyadanam. It's high class. Other types of marriages are also there. Prabhupada is saying they're not very high class. They're not very high class. So you can see in the Manu Samhita, you can see in the Vedic literature, there is, I remember listing about 8 different types of marriages listed. Of course, now you can be having 100 or 200 types of marriages. All sorts of marriages people have on the internet, on the Facebook, on WhatsApp, on email, on a dating app, on you name it, anywhere and anything and everywhere. But the point is that although there are different types of marriages, this is a high-class marriage proposal. So it will be interesting for us to know, even though we may not be able to follow sometimes, and you may think all sorts of things inside, what is the culture? What is Vedic culture? We can appreciate that Devahuti, it is mentioned, has not even seen Karadama Muni, which means she's not physically meditating on him and attracting and having fantasies and thinking we will go here, we'll take a flight to this place, and we will go around in the trees, and we will trip here, we'll do that. None of these things. She's not even seen him, but she has heard about him. And what she has heard, she has not heard that he has got 10 Mercedes Benz, and he has got a big bungalow, a resort in the forest, and he's not heard all those type of things. She has heard things that are the least bit attractive to somebody who's materialistic. She has heard he is handsome, he's beautiful, he's tall, he's that, this, everything. But more than everything, anything, he is very fixed in Krishna consciousness. And he is going to definitely make it in this life back to Godhead. So Devahuti has desired, after hearing from Narada about Karadama Muni, she has fixed her mind on Karadama Muni. And she has revealed it to her father. My father, don't look around for these great kings. I know I am a Kshatriya woman, born in a Kshatriya clan. And you will be looking for a Kshatriya husband. But this girl, I'm not interested in heroic activity now. I'm not interested in Kshatriya type of chivalrousness. I have fixed my mind in achieving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And this person, I'm sure, will be able to give me that. So she has not even seen him. She has just heard about his qualities. And she's seeing him for the first time now, coming with her father. And what does she see? Just a shack of a small hut. And just some fire burning, and he's doing yajna. Of course, he's got tejas. And he's got spiritual power. And so much of tapasya and everything. And here comes, it's like, living in the forest, and it's a real disturbance that somebody brings a beautiful young daughter and says, marry her. It's not something that happened only in the Bhagavatam, it happens in the Krishna consciousness movement quite often. At least many times in the past. It's happened to me. So people are looking for good men. And when they find one, they don't bother about this or that. They just crash in and they propose. Because we want the best. I hope it's not lost. So there's a mad scurry and a race for trying to get good boys, for getting married to girls. And Karadama Muni here, he did not refuse to welcome Swayambhuva Manu. Because in the back of his head, he knows that Krishna is making some arrangement. I have asked Krishna to make arrangement. And he has personally come to me and said, I'll do the needful for you. And instantly this is happening. So he must be knowing this is Krishna's arrangement. So he's acting in accordance with that. But the interesting thing here is that Swayambhuva Manu, although he knows that this person is looking for marriage, he is definitely feeling that there may be a chance that he may not think it's a great choice. He may reject it. Why? Because it's a Kshatriya approaching a Brahmana. It's a Kshatriya lady getting married to a Brahmana. And it's not necessary that a Brahmana would accept a Kshatriya lady. Brahmana will say, I want a Brahminical girl, well trained in her house, how to look after, has Brahminical standards and everything. That's the type of thing that a Brahmana will look for. Swajati, same type of tribe, same type of caste, same type of this thing. And it is normal even today. People all say that same caste we want. Because it's comfortable, Your expectations are more or less predictable. So there will be some sort of a compatibility. So you must understand here that he is a Brahmana, Karadama Muni. Swayambhuva Manu is a Kshatriya, and Devahuti is a Kshatriya girl. And she has come to marry this Brahmana. You know, you have, I think, Anuloma, Pratiloma, all types of weddings described. I don't remember exactly what this is. But it is a lower class person requesting from a higher class. That feeling would have been there in Swayambhuva Manu. This is my own feeling after reading this. So therefore, there is definitely a better choice available for Karadama Muni. There are so many beautiful Brahmin girls, daughters of so many sages in the forest. We must be having a very good choice. And the thing about Karadama Muni is he did not make that choice. Rather, he asked the Lord, you make the choice for me who is the best girl. And this is the choice Karadama Muni may be thinking that this may be the person that Krishna has sent. And amazingly, Swayambhuva Manu is also telling a gift that comes on its own accord, you must not refuse. Which means it's echoing that, you know, Krishna has made this arrangement for you and you must not refuse. So you see, everything falls into place so nicely, and you know for sure you should accept this. It may be of one lower level, a Kshatriya woman, but it's normally allowed that Brahmanas would marry a Kshatriya woman, but normally a Brahmin woman would not marry a Kshatriya or something like that. I'm not very clear, I don't remember. But the point is here that Daiva, God sent, because Krishna has his own plan. It is not that, if it is not Krishna's plan, normally we will endeavor a lot and see that it is a Brahminical girl, same jati, same this thing, and we'll look into everything. And still we will pray to the Lord for his mercy, and the Lord also directs. But here directly, Karadama Muni knows that anytime, any moment, my prayer to Krishna will be fructifying, because Krishna has said so. So he is accepting this offer. It is mentioned here. Very nicely mentioned that you should not refuse because it is coming out of his own accord. You must accept. This is the plea of Karadama Muni. Prabhupada goes ahead. This is the overall view, the shlokas and everything. And how Swayambhuva Manu is very cultured, in a cultured manner, approaching Karadama Muni. And how Karadama Muni is receiving Swayambhuva Manu that we have discussed yesterday. And how I said that Swayambhuva Manu has got the great responsibility to get his daughter married, whom he says, I'm filled with affection for her. Father's affection for the daughter is very well known. The daughter's affection for the father is also known. But here is a transfer. Kanya Danam. Danam means charity. And we should understand the real meaning of all these things. These are not ordinary terms. Kanya Danam, I gave some donation to the temple. I gave a few thousand rupees for the temple construction. I gave this. It's not just that type of Danam. The word Danam is used, but Kanya Danam is a personality, a person being transferred. So why is it called Danam? Because it's no more yours. Once you give charity, it's no more yours. It's no more yours. And here we are not giving an inanimate object as charity. We are giving a living, breathing, willing, feeling, conscious personality. Devahuti. I'm sorry, not we. Devahuti is being given. So she can't come back. Given, we'll say, Danam Datt, giving in charity. So this is a great event because she shifts houses. She no more belongs to her parents' house. She belongs to her husband's house. That is her domain. That is her destination. Whatever she has to undergo in life, she has to undergo there. She can't come running away. Nowadays, you will see how marriages are. I'm just wanting to draw this comparison for you. Commitment, responsibility, culture, goal of life, all these things are very important if you want a marriage to actually sustain. And therefore, you can see most of the people in this world will not have good marriages. Their marriages is based only on sense gratification. The criterion is sense gratification. That's why it invariably fails. This is a central point we must understand. Prabhupada explains it brilliantly. Grihamedi and Grihastha. If you're getting your daughter married, if you're getting your son married for their gratification, you'll be prepared that they're going to come running back. And the parents are also very happy to get the daughter back, to get the son back. That's another phenomenon. From the side of the parents, they're so attached to the daughter, they never did the Kanya Danam. Mind, body, soul, intelligence, everything together, they did not give. They're retaining affection. They still got a tether connected. How are you? Is he treating you well? Any problem you have, you come away. Any problem you have, you come away. Because you can give me sense gratification. You are my possession. Doesn't matter if your married life is destroyed. Doesn't matter that, I am always available to you. You come to me and I will, give you money, give you position, give you that, give you so many things. You can work in my business. And you'll be next to me and I will always shower affection on you and I can enjoy materially affection towards you. So shallow. So shallow. Why are these desires not good? Because they're not connected with the goal of life. They're connected with sense gratification, from the very subtle to the very gross. So men also, when they get married on the basis of gross desires, definitely they'll face problems. That's how it's been throughout. This morning, just as I'm getting ready to give Bhagavatam class, it's not that we are all not subjected to these things. This is material world, Kali Yuga, and we are living right inside, and we're trying to establish a lifestyle of Krishna consciousness, develop communities, and make decisions on the basis of these words of Prabhupada in the Bhagavatam. It's not an easy thing also. Just when I'm sitting for this thing, although I'm a sannyasi, early morning I'm getting a call. And I don't pick up the call because it's chanting time and I don't know, I'm not near my phone. But I come and see just before I'm giving this class, I'm sitting in front of the computer, so my phone is there. I see, wow, somebody's called, and he's also sent a voice message. Very important. My daughter is getting married to so-and-so from your place. And the marriage is in so-and-so. Please, I need your blessings. I tried to contact you this morning. Please call us back, etc., etc. I've been in touch, trying to help out a little bit. I know everybody is very anxious, concerned whether this will work out. I need prayers, I need your blessings. This is Kali Yuga. People are very afraid. But inside the devotee community, it's our challenge to create ideal marriages where the husband and wife have got the great opportunity to follow these things because they are both devotees. Since each of them is interested in Krishna and the goal of life is Krishna Prema, many things can get solved. There's a great opportunity to solve. Unfortunately, when that doesn't happen, then it's a very good chance wasted. To look at people in the outside world, they are not Devahutis and they are not Karadama Munis for sure. Neither are devotees inside the temple claiming to be, inside the temple or inside the congregation claiming to be Devahuti or Mother Sita or Rama or anybody. Although the expectations sometimes from each other is something like that, too idealistic, not realistic. But at least in the outside world, in the secular world where people are not at all religious or anything, they are basing it completely on sense gratification, and invariably a lot of that fails. But people are not willing to accept that the failure in marriage mostly is because of not having a proper guidance on the purpose of marriage, what's the goals of married life, and where you should start, what should be the expectation, and what should be the behavior between each other, the relationship, what's the purpose. They are such wonderful, glorious purposes. in married life. You can see here, Swayambhuva Manu saying that she is fit for you. You are in the forest, you are a sage, you live a very austere tapasya life. My daughter is fit for you. Amazing, huh? He's bringing her down from being a Kshatriya princess down to a level of being a servant maid for I shouldn't use the word servant maid, but a person who's going to assist him in the forest. Austere, and she's willing to do that. So the ideals are very high, and this is an ideal couple, and the proposal is very ideal. The father is a very ideal person, Manu, and he knows the laws very well. And he is proposing to Karadama, who is a Brahmana and a very pure person, having just seen the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Can you imagine what a wonderful pair it would be? So if not so much, at least in the Krishna consciousness movement, we have girls and boys who are chanting Hare Krishna, who have a desire to orient their life towards love of Krishna, to develop bhakti, and they honestly, sincerely seek the shelter of another person who will be able to guide me, who will take care of my emotional well-being, my physical well-being, my spiritual well-being with great maturity and understanding. And we both will achieve the goal of life. And this is not something impossible. I have seen many couples in Krishna consciousness who are very mature, who counsel others, and who have a very good grahastha household atmosphere. They have children. They face quite a few challenges, but they keep within the principles of Krishna consciousness. So I am very hopeful that gradually we will be able to establish a community based on ideal Grahastha principles. Here in Coimbatore, we are trying to establish the Kovai Chandra community. And Grahasthas are the bulwark, the main foundation of a community like this. And it will be very necessary for us to learn good lessons from this. These lessons are not something too idealistic. It's not something that you cannot achieve. Because these principles are based on Krishna consciousness, and it depends a lot on our faith in Krishna's instructions, in Prabhupada's instructions. And there are many things that look impossible temporarily in the front. Maya sometimes puts up many things, but we should not go by those things. We should go by what Prabhupada said, what the Bhagavatam says, because that's what we are. We are spirit souls, part and parcel of Krishna. We are Krishna's servants. Therefore, these things will happen. It is just a question of not losing our faith, but endeavoring to do it. Just like Devahuti has got full faith in Karadama Muni and her father, and in the Shastras, and in the culture she has been brought up in. We should have firm faith in the teachings of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, the ISKCON movement. There may be many small problems that we are having while we are settling ourselves up. But these are basic principles which everybody will normally agree to. Details may change. So, few things that Prabhupada has mentioned here, I want to highlight. Having said this, I want to highlight that, not with any intention of finding fault, but with an intention of highlighting the principles. We can get lost in interpreting the principles and sticking to certain details which we want. But we must not sacrifice the principle for a detail. Rather, we can sacrifice a detail for a principle. To uphold a principle, you can sacrifice a detail, but you must never sacrifice a principle to uphold any detail, because details are in constant flux. They keep changing. As the world changes, I have seen in my life such a change from the time I joined ISKCON to today. And the world outside also has changed as a sea change, especially in the past 25, 30 years. Internet, and yesterday in our facilitation, we brought Braj Bihari Prabhu from Washington, D.C. in Bhakti Shastri. He was telling about how Prabhupada spoke about the telex machine. In those days when phones, you have to make a trunk call and call the telex machine. And how Prabhupada said, be careful of the telex machine and its usage. And so today we can see that we are all absorbed in a media, in a whole way of communicating. Right now, I am forced to give a Bhagavatam class only online. So it's no other alternative. So changes have occurred so much in society, and we should be very careful not to lose the principle. Similarly, in Grahastha life in this day and age, there may be many changes that we need to make in detail according to the mind and mentality of people in Kali Yuga. But the principles should not be changed. If the principles are changed, then we don't achieve the goal of life. We endanger our achieving the goal of life. So here Prabhupada is saying the wife should not compete with the husband. Very interesting. And the wife should be of the same age as the husband. That's even also very interesting. It means obviously mental age. Women mature earlier than men in terms of certain things. So obviously it means that we have a difference in the age. When the gap is too much, you will see that it's difficult for them to accept certain things and have a healthy relationship of acceptance and expression and free conversation and relationship. So all these things come up. So some key things, very beautiful, wonderful instructions Prabhupada is giving, very practical, that he's saying household affairs are both the responsibility of the groom, of the male and the female. And he's saying that it's the man who's responsible for the household affairs. And it is the woman who should completely assist him in household affairs, according to his instruction. And he will look after everything that's needed. So the responsibility rests with the male, and the responsibility of assisting the male rests with the female. Not that you compete with him, that is mentioned here. So nowadays, the climate is changing because of this thing called women's empowerment. It is not that women are not empowered in the Vedic system of thought. It's wrong to think like that. Women are highly empowered by their husbands. If you, Swayambhu Manu is referring to Priyavrata. You should read Priyavrata's wife helping Priyavrata. She is glorified so much in the Bhagavatam that because of her only Priyavrata, who refused to become an emperor, and Swayambhu Manu had to get great personalities like Brahma and Narada to convince him, who finally accepted that role, married and accepted the role, got a wife who helped him so much that he did certain things which even the sun god couldn't do. It's mentioned that he said that one half of the sun is not illuminated because sun is able to illuminate only the other half. I will do the other half. And he tried to, and his wife inspired him. And she became very famous for that. So you have good examples of wives who are as good as their husband in terms of deciding and doing things, but they stand behind the husband and have the husband do it. And the husband achieves fame. And they know that it's because of the wife behind. And the wife is not wanting to be in the front more than the husband. She remains in the back. The husband and wife are one. And if they can understand that either one of us performance is to the credit of both of us, we are together. And whatever we may have a difference this way or that way, right? We perform together. The children see us together. The society sees us together. My husband achieves things and I am behind him. And my wife, I highly recognize my wife for her contributions to me and to the family and for the whole. In this way, each one understands their roles, and each one is very happy rendering their roles, and they progress towards achieving love for Krishna. It may sound very idealistic, but there are families like that. Of course, in Kali Yuga, there are challenges. You have to be a little more tolerant, a little more patient, a little more this thing. You have to go through some tapasya, no doubt. I am speaking this because I came from a very big family. My mother had actually 10 children, 2 of them died. One died, and the other one died at birth or something. And my father and mother stayed together for 54 years of married life before she passed away, and then my father passed away after 2 years. So I have actually seen from my younger ages what a lot of austerity and penance that the parents went through to maintain a family. So many things happen inside a family in Kali Yuga, right? It's not at all easy. But the happy thing is that a lot of them became Krishna conscious. So there is some solace. Similarly, in Kali Yuga, we have a lot of challenges even in managing the micro families that today Grihasthas have. They don't go beyond 2 children or something. They can't. They simply can't. Very rarely I see some people having 3 or 4 children nowadays. Now they're even thinking of adopting children. In the Western world, it is no chance of children at all. Because of that, their race is finished. Their race itself is finished. There's no second generation, third generation. Very less. So that's a different botheration, a different worry. But a family, a husband and wife, is a great science. You may be thinking that I'm speaking, I'm not married and I don't have experience, so it's easy to speak true. But I am speaking on the basis of the different experiences I have counseling, different experience I have from my own family life in terms of coming from a big family, and in terms of many times having to help between husband and wife and counseling them. Although I'm a sannyasi, you should stay away from this, but in a community like International Society for Krishna Consciousness, it's not possible to stay away. I mean, you will be seen as a hard-hearted, cold, renounced man who doesn't require any attention from anybody. So Prabhupada spent his time doing many things, helping them to establish Varnashrama nicely. So at this curve in ISKCON's development, it's also required that all of us are involved in making the Grahastha life successful, because that is the most important ashrama in Kali Yuga. You can see everybody invariably becomes a Grahastha. And honestly, sincerely, they want to utilize that situation. With great hope, they get into it, that they will be able to get help to become Krishna conscious. So it's very important that we learn these principles. Today we are able to skim the surface, but these are points that you can discuss in great detail. And some of the senior grahasthas in ISKCON communities will be far, far more experienced in explaining some of these things. But I'm just touching upon a few things that struck me as we were reading the purport. I know that there are deeper questions which we can also talk and discuss. So thank you. I will stop here, and if there's any question, I will take. There is from Sundara Murari Das. How is the maintenance need to be done in modern day Grahastha devotees? Can they depend on temple money? Please clarify. Temple money means temple type of living. Yes, we do support Grahasthas in many ISKCON centers. And of course, there are a lot of questions and there are a lot of challenges. We may not have perfected it yet, but of course, any type of person can live in a temple naturally. And that type of facility should be given. Temple living means very Brahminical living, austere living. A Grahastha should not expect all sorts of things. He can get his basic needs, and that's it. And what that basic needs is for each one differs, each place it differs. What's the basic need of somebody in UK, in London, is different from the basic need of somebody in Sulu or Erode or Ooty or any of these places. So it should be discussed, and if the devotees are interested in Krishna consciousness full-time service, we have to look at it that way. At the same time, somebody feels that no, that's not enough for me. I cannot be a temple-dependent grihastha. I need my own business. I need my own lifestyle. That's okay. So somebody can stay even outside, and he can earn his own money, do his own business, and maybe he'll have limited chances or opportunities or time to engage in devotional service. That's okay. He can still serve. There are many devotees in history who served like that. Bhakti Vinod Thakur, one of our acharyas, was doing that the whole day. He was a magistrate. Plus, he was helping the Krishna consciousness movement very much, pioneering many things. And it's always the principle that if you're interested in Krishna consciousness, yes, ISKCON has still to develop a lot in terms of Grihastha community and maintenance of Grihasthas, etc. But I see it as the future. That when we live as a community dependent on each other and dependent all together on Krishna, then great things can happen. But the moment gratification, personal ambition, all that set inside, everything gets disturbed. So Grihastha community and all that definitely should be matched up by higher levels of Krishna conscious maturity. Otherwise, it's been very necessary to lay down rules and clear lines and clear definitions. That is still not so much prevalent, but in many ISKCON temples, they've already started doing that. It will be a need over the future. Yes, this is a gray area. I wouldn't say that we've got everything right and up and going, but this is something we need to work on. So it's possible in some places that it is happening, but many times there is dissatisfaction, etc., etc. So we hope that over a period of time that could be settled. So I'm not able to give you a paka answer. Can they depend on temple money? They can. In fact, what do you mean temple money? All money belongs to Krishna. You mean to say the money in your pocket is not Krishna's money? It is. Temple money is more so evidently Krishna's money. And definitely it should be spent very, very carefully. So it is, I agree that it's more sensitive. But everything should be used in the service of Krishna. Everything belongs to Krishna. And maybe sometimes people think externally, I'm not the direct custodian of this money, or I am the direct custodian of this money. It's okay. We need that because we are conditioned souls and we need those type of distinctions, and we should do that. So, yes, temple money can be utilized. Why not? And it should be done by people who are mature and austere and Krishna conscious, definitely. So the next one is Valli Krishna is asking if the husband is not cooperating with the wife to perform devotional service. If the wife has taken initiation, how to overcome Maharaj? Well, these are all to be answered according to the time, place, situation, and circumstance. So it varies, but generally speaking, if the husband is not cooperating, then you have to wait sometimes to change the husband. Sometimes in this Kali Yuga time, you give up, you say, no, no chance. This person will not change, which means the wife has to take a decision for her own spiritual life in deciding that my husband is not going to lead me in the ultimate goal of my family life in Krishna consciousness. And I cannot keep waiting. I'm also growing older. So I have to commit myself. That means you have a clear talk with the husband. I'm going this way and you're not interested. Then don't interfere in this thing too much. I hope I'll do all my service that I need to do in the household, like this, but I don't take part in the following things. I should have a very mature discussion. If needed, a third party, another mentor or somebody also could be there. And depends on how how much the husband is like. Sometimes husbands are good, they're religious, they're pious, just that the wife presents Krishna consciousness in a very fanatic way, or sometimes in a rough manner, or the husband feels alienated. He feels being pushed to a secondary position, and their ego is hurt, and they are challenged. Sometimes, even in married devotees' position, you can see that there's difference of opinion between the husband and wife, because the wife is expecting that the husband will be like Lord Ramachandra, because she thinks she is Sita in terms of her austerity and in terms of her Krishna consciousness. Or sometimes the wife thinks that I will do service only to my guru, not to you. You are a materialistic rascal, whatever. Sometimes they say these things. It hurts the person so much, and he becomes inimical towards the Krishna consciousness movement, towards the wife, towards everything. He becomes depressed, and it's so bad. And so I don't know, because that's why I said time, place, and circumstances. If the wife has been very reasonable and she is, presented things properly, and in spite of that, this is happening, then that should be looked upon in a different way. But if the wife is not presented Krishna consciousness properly with due diligence and due consideration of the situation that they are in, or the husband is in, and the children are in, it requires a lot of patience, tolerance, and maturity to find out a solution little by little and progress in it. So it's not so easy to answer your question, but I think I've generally done. Sometimes you need to take decisions, no doubt. The wife needs to take decisions if she has concluded that the husband is not going to take it up immediately, or maybe taking it up later, or may not take it up at all. So I agree that we need to make decisions and have a discussion. And if that doesn't work out, the next best thing and the next best thing. Sometimes some extreme decisions are also taken by some of the ladies, which is because it has become maybe sometimes violent or physical. And this is Kali Yuga. So according to the time, place, situation, and specific instance, we need to work out a solution. I hope that helps you, Vali Krishna. So Divya Prakash, what is the role of astrologer in sort of marriage matching? Yes, Prabhupada asked us to look into horoscopes that we have. You can see in this purports it comes again. And he says matching of the horoscope is very important. It's a clear indication of the karmas of the two individuals and whether these two have a matching or not. And that's a good indication. So we have to follow that. It will be good if we can do that. So Krishna consciousness marriages many times, mostly, are done like that. Some consideration is there sometimes here and there. They match up with the astrologer, and the astrologer would say there's 70% matching, there's 80% matching, or there is 50% matching, and they take decisions according to that. So astrology definitely is considered very much. It's correct. It's a Vedic science, and it can read the mental, physical, and other dispositions of the person, and we can see if matches or not. Matching is very important for material life. We have to materially match the person. Although we may be spiritual living beings, so we are not immediately in the liberated stage, so we need to do it carefully. So astrology comes as a very useful, important tool to make a judgment about compatibility. So we use it a lot. Again, question from Sundara Murari. Initiated wife is more dedicated to Guru Maharaj than to the initiated husband, same Guru. Is that correct, Maharaj? Please clarify. Well, these type of problems may be there. Not only a wife, but everybody else also has got a tendency to move towards that person whom they feel comfortable with in terms of expressing themselves, in terms of getting their problems satisfied and solved, and getting some enthusiasm for performing. That's quite natural. If the husband has not got that type of a good relationship with the wife, then there's a chance that the wife will move towards another area. But definitely the guru, especially if he is a sannyasi, will not be able to counsel the disciple who's a wife of somebody in the same manner that the husband can counsel. He can give some general instructions, but if he's a grahastha, maybe he can do a little more along with his wife. Sometimes if the guru is a sannyasi, he may ask other senior grahasthas to give advice and solve the thing. So in this way, definitely using the community members, the guru normally caters to the disciples' needs. And the husband need not be worried too much that she's not listening to me anymore. Don't make a material estimation of that. But if the wife is able to get some succor, some input and feel better, let it happen. Let it happen. Because a true guru will not advise the wife that, yeah, don't associate with him too much. He's like this, he's like that. No, that he will not listen to all that. He'll always, if he's a devotee, try to push the wife towards the husband. Because this is Kali Yuga and people will fight over very small things and they very easily get disturbed. Their tolerance level is very low. Patience is very low. So for a material reason, you can't jump off from the grahastha ashrama and say, my guru is not you. Then the household won't run properly. Definitely, you can accept it should be encouraged that the wife accepts the authority of the husband. And the husband also should not exploit his role as an authority. He should be very sensitive, very careful in dealing with the uh, wife. And if it is sometimes difficult and because of a little emotional nature or something, he should have friends. The wife should have friends in the women community. The husband has got friends also. And in this way, they get to know what's happening and they get help. That's the thing. That's a general thing I can tell you. Okay. Since there are no more questions, thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki